Bonjour mes amis, here is the popular Seiko Flightmaster, a model that gets harder to find brand new. I actually have two of these. One is still mint in the box, and this one, which I wear occasionally, but is still mint, as you can see. I usually pair it with grey NATO. But do note that the short lugs make it a little difficult to pass the strap through, so it's best to stick to what you've managed to put on. Also, the lug width being 21 millimeters, the options are a bit more limited, but I have no problem finding those here in Hong Kong or on eBay. Today, after a few months, for the first time, I've decided to put on the original bracelet. I've sized it and removed the stickers. But as you can see, while it looks nice and chunky, it doesn't have really nice center links. Those are sort of folded over, polished but cheap looking links, sadly. Otherwise, it's not bad at all. I'll put it on the wrist. You know, it's solid feel, but yeah, sadly these center links kind of let down the overall look. They don't really work with the watch, even though the case sides are polished as well. The clasp closes like the usual Seiko, and you can change the links with simple push pins. They don't have the little minders inside, so it's quite easy to change. Now the watch has near perfect dimensions, which adds to its appeal. The diameter is a compact 40 millimeter, slightly more if you count the indentations of the bezel. It's only 12 millimeter thick, 1 millimeter of which is due to the cool domed hardlex crystal, a feature that always draws the eyes. It has that cool distortion which kind of goes against obvious principles of visibility on a tool watch, but looks cool to the casual observer. And speaking of the casual observers, the overall impression of this watch is that of luxury, and the uninitiated will usually believe that you're sporting a sort of Breitling hot number. But what impression do I personally get from it? At first I was indeed enamored, but as I added more luxury mechanical timepieces to my collection, this entry-level quartz piece kind of took the back step in my watch rotation. It does look unique though, that's for sure, and it's a reliable weekend tool with 200 meters of water resistance, thanks to the screw-down chronometer pushers here. These are reminiscent of what you find on the classic of classics, Rolex Daytona. In day-to-day use, they're always a bit annoying and difficult to unscrew while the watch is on the wrist, so that you can't time things on the fly. But it's a price to pay for water protection. While I'm talking about those pushers, let me show you how they work, because the chronograph function is pretty cool on those quartz pieces. You see, you unscrew them, unscrew the other one, and let me start the chronograph here. The pushing is not a click like you would get on a Speedmaster, for example. This is more like a very soft push. You can stop it and reset it. It's a slow reset. It's not a quick, snappy reset. I'm going to start it again, and you can get a split time here. Push at 5 seconds, for example. Wait about 5 seconds, and when I push it again, you see the seconds hand of the chronograph just jumps. I'll do it again. Splitting. Wait a few seconds and watch how it's going to jump. There you go. And you can continue to time. Stop it, reset it. Now the main crown is a screw-down crown. And on the first position you can change the date, and on the second position you can change the time. So while we are talking about the chronometer, Note that you can obviously turn it on and have the cool sweep of the yellow seconds hand when you just can't bear the ghastly sight of the ticking seconds hand in the left sub-dial, because of course this is a quartz timepiece. So the advantage of being quartz is that it is always on time and will go for a solid 2 or 3 years at least, probably, on the same battery. I've had one of those Seiko chronometers from the Premier line, and it's been running on the same battery for over 4 years. So this one is the reference SNA411P1. It has the black dial and silver case. The rarest of these Flightmasters is the white one with the blue color on the dial and on the bezel, which is really nice. But if you feel flashy, you can switch to the reference SNA414 with the gold case. It's much harder to read the abundant scales on the bezel and around the dial, but it looks pretty cool too. And I have paired it here on a 21mm black leather strap with a beige stitching. And these gold ones are pretty easy to find on eBay, and usually they trade for cheaper. And this is the gold bracelet that it comes on. Pretty cool. You can have the whole gold flashy wrapper kind of look. Now, I was just talking about the bezel, and it's not a clicking bezel because you need to rotate it precisely to match different sorts of scales. So it's smooth with enough resistance to keep it in place tightly, as you can see here. And you're always told that these days you have your iPhone to do all the calculations for you, but when your phone battery dies, you have here the ultimate tool to get you through a rough patch, including the compass indications. So you get a substantial manual with the watch to learn how to use all the scales. It's quite a fun read, and after going through it, you'll be ready to go on adventures with Bear Grylls probably. Now, the lume on the watch is Seiko's Lumi Bright, but it's not spread around very much. You have it on the hour, the minute hands, and 8 pips on the dial. So it's not the ideal legibility at night. Let's say if you were a pilot trying to use this watch. The lower subdial can be used as a GMT function, as a second time zone, and it is otherwise used for the alarm, which you set using the main crown, I think at the first position, and then using the pusher here to move the time. The subdial at 12 o'clock is the minute register for the chronograph function, and it can record up to 1 hour. And of course you have a date function on this watch. And one more thing to mention, these watches are built in China. Yeah, but the movement is from Japan. Ew. So to conclude, I would say that this is a super fun watch, but it all depends how much you're ready to spend for it. This quartz piece came out originally under $200, I believe, but these days you occasionally see new batches pop up a bit above $200, but it's not rare to find even used ones trading at double or triple the price due to the popularity of the model. So I'd say be reasonable. Don't spend over $400 for these, but if you need a pilot chronograph type of watch that looks the part and doesn't break the bank, this is one of the more serious contenders. Let's have one final look around. You can see the case is quite nice. It's polished with a brushed section here. It's not the level that you find on the Pro Specs watches now, but it's pretty good. I don't think if you are used to a luxury watch you will be fooled by this. but even if you have luxury watches, it is still a fun watch to pick up to complete a collection. All right, let me know what you think of the Seiko Flightmaster in the comments. Like the video and subscribe if you want to see more content, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye bye.